Good evening, Gills fans. Welcome back to the latest episode of Gills in the Blood TV with myself. Boss is back on a Thursday. How are you? You all right?
Yeah, I've had a good sleep today.
Good, mate. Look at you. Look all happy. I saw you last night anyway.
Yeah.
It's like we've seen each other for ages. But yeah, good to have you back for a match preview. I haven't seen you for a while on a Thursday because I've not been going anywhere apart from football.
Working every night, yeah.
And yeah,
Good
you
result
didn't go Tuesday, but
but
positive performance and an even more positive result against an awful Sunderland, it has to
yeah,
be
on
said.
paper they seem decent, but
They were.
I follow a couple of them on Twitter and they're not having a good time at the moment.
There was the Roker report put out that match rating. Wilgrid got a 1 out of 10, and I said that was probably 3 too many. I think there was only 1 or 2 that come out with any amount of credit.
Max Power got slated, Duncan Watmore got slated.
They want him gone, didn't they? Most of their fans, just purely for his benefit and for their benefit. McGeady was anonymous when he came on, spent most of his time trying to find the ball on the halfway line because they had nothing going forward. But Will Grigg, if he was on fire in 2016, he ain't now. There's not even embers or anything like that. He is a shadow of that player that used to score goals for. He had 1 shot that drifted wide of the post in the second half, I think it was. But it was never ever going in, and it was one of them. The shot of a player completely devoid of confidence, completely devoid of goals, ideas, and I think Stocky called it. There was 1 corner they took or a cross come in extra time. I think it might have been after we'd scored. No, it can't have been. It must have been just before we scored because we were shooting towards the town end. Sorry, Brighton Moor stand for youngsters. And it literally just floated all the way out of play, bounced once and ended up in the Gordon Rome stand. And Stocky went, that's their performance in 1 ball. They were that bad, it was a joke. And Phil Parkinson's under pressure already. But as bad as they were, we were very good. And Jack Tucker.
I see Jules Fangast put something out earlier, didn't they?
Oh, about would you stick with the same?
No, it was about his last 4 games.
Oh, 5 appearances, 4 clean sheets. Yeah. The only one that wasn't was Rotherham, yeah. But
he was poor that day.
Accrington, Tottenham, Lincoln and Sunderland, yeah. Oh, I see the vote they put out as well about would you stick with the same back 4 or would you bring O'Connor back in?
I would keep the back 4.
I think we have to. You cannot change that at the moment.
Nothing against O'Connor because he's been really good, but if we're keeping clean sheets, I wouldn't change it.
And also, he's young. He's been travelling around. I don't think they've had 2 home fixtures, but obviously it's new to him. It's going to be something. His body's still adjusting to senior football, but it's a decent option to have.
I think Matt Phipps tweeted out the other day that Championship club's looking at him.
Yes, I saw the article. Yeah, so hopefully we can get something sorted quickly and get him extended until the end of the season. Hopefully Alfie Jones can have a word in his shell, but yeah, good options to have. But Jack Tucker was absolutely immaculate. Again, that's a word I use a lot at the moment. That's my go-to word, immaculate. He was as close to flawless as you can imagine. There was a couple of balls that he clips over the top that we've said about a few times that he just goes too straight with, but defensively, absolutely spot on. And this is against Championship players in effect, and he does not look out of place. Yeah, Aidan McGeady's Republic of Ireland international.
Griggs, as we know, is international.
Yeah, and he just does not look out of place. And then at the other end, Brandon Hanlon, for me, absolutely superb again.
I loved his celebration.
It's proper that, and it meant a lot. And because he was in the paper last week, I think, or the week before, talking about how he wanted to be part of an FA Cup memory because he missed the Cardiff game last week. Because remember, he'd had an injury last season. He was on the bench for Cardiff and missed all of the FA Cup run. He does what he does every game. He just gets better the longer the game goes on. In extra time, he was a joke.
Half time, he's been poor, but you know he's going to pick up, and he always does.
And again, it's the same areas. He drifts himself out wide. He's got the beating of fullbacks for pace. He's got enough power to go round people. He mugged off that Ozturk a couple of times. I know Ozturk was coming back from injury, but really deserved his goal. So pleased for him, and I've said it plenty of times. And I'm not going to be ashamed. He's probably my favourite Gills player at the moment, based on work rate alone. I think it's great to see.
Jack Bonham gets my vote at the moment. I love that man.
I'm not saying he's technically maybe he's our best player, but I just mean for sheer work rate and wanting to do well and just never, ever giving in. But in terms of them again, I mean, we saw them last season when they come down and beat us 4-1.
Totally different team to the side we played last season. Just
completely different side. And it was still some of the same players. Not all of them, but we don't buy into this Phil Parkinson thing that they had loads missing. There was probably 1 or 2 that would have come in.
It was centre back when it was the only place you'd say they were struggling.
Yeah, they had Ozturk come back from injury and then they had a kid and they had to play left back as a left-sided centre back. But I'm not being funny, like we said on the match. Like any side that's got Chris Maguire, Will Grigg, Aidan McGeady from the bench, Duncan Watmore, Max Power,
let's be honest, we should have enough.
Grant Ledbetter should be beating Gillingham on paper, but we know it's not played on paper. And as bad as they were, we were bloody good. We've just spoken about him, Tom O'Connor. 2 Republic of Ireland under-21 appearances this week. Republic of Ireland 1, Armenia 0, and Republic of Ireland 4, Sweden 1. It's not a bad start to international life.
Sweden aside, he's kept it clean sheets, hasn't he?
Just all the Gills defenders just love keeping clean sheets at the moment. So that'll do him really good. Whether he gets in our team for Saturday.
I wouldn't be surprised if he came back in, but me personally, I would leave it for now.
He's a good player at the end of the day, and you can't have too many of them at this level. Well, any level, can you? So, ex-Gills news before we get onto the match preview itself, though. I think everybody's been talking about it for the last 24, 48 hours. You've nearly finished it. I will listen to it a couple of months ago.
Stocky started it as well.
AD Pennock podcast. Can open worms everywhere. It's a really interesting listen, though, isn't it?
Interesting listening to him about his playing career, how he was an Ipswich fan, actually started out in Norwich.
Because he fell off his bike and the local newsagent's owner was a scout for Norwich or something. Yeah, it's weird how people get lucky breaks, and well, not lucky breaks in the sense that he smashed his
I'm at
face
the point
in.
in it where he's at Woking, I think. Is it Woking or Welling he was at?
He was at Welling, wasn't he, here in Kent?
Yeah, that's where I'm up to tomorrow. I've got about half hour left.
But the bits about Gills fans that were spitting at him when he's got his kids in supermarket car parks, I'm not being funny, if you're one of them, you need to give your head a wobble because you're an idiot. Bottom line, I've got nothing else to say on it. Absolute scum, people doing that. I didn't like him as a manager.
No.
It didn't work. I thought he was out of his depth. I thought tactically he was all over the show. But he made a good point about players that he got in again. Thomas Holy ends up top end League One, probably be in the Championship next season. Tom Eaves is in the Championship. Well, not all of them, granted. There was one other, Josh Parker ended up getting promoted to the Championship. Yeah. He's now in a side that's top or second in League One, whether they stay there or not, and whether he's playing loads, but Wickham have bought him for a reason. I said, I think, on Twitter a couple of days ago, for me it always came down to the fact that he was the same as Peter Taylor when Peter Taylor came back the second time. Could find a player, couldn't get him into a team. Tactically was probably...
Kind of had his own idea of actually I want to play, and got players that maybe didn't suit the system.
And then got found out if his plan didn't work. Whereas Taylor, I think it just became a fact that football was changing and he hadn't evolved with it, had he? So, but yeah, stuff about being spat at, death threats, threatening your wife, threatening your children. It's just scummy.
It's interesting listening to his experience out in the Dodgers. It was broke.
Singapore he's in, isn't he?
Yeah.
DPMM, I think, or something like that.
Brunei, I think, is where he's based.
Yes, the Sultan of Brunei's son is the chairman, isn't it, or something? And that was a chance meeting again as well. When it's something to do, he got in for knee surgery last spring and ended up getting a phone call. He thought it was a wind-up until he phoned Zesh Raymond, who we had on loan when AD was in charge. But yeah, done really well.
He was saying that he went out there and he had, they allowed a squad like 25, and he had 60 players from Brunei, and they allowed 3 overseas players.
Oh, that was a bit. It was like a trial thing, and it lasted 10 days or something.
Yeah, he said he had to get 60 down to like 22, effectively. So he gets
because he allowed 3 overseas players. He had a lad. Was it Charlie Clough? Charlie Clough. He said he'd had him somewhere. Forest Green. He played centre half, and there was a couple of others. But fair play to him. I think he says in today's Medway Messenger, they done a Leicester. They weren't expected to win the league, and they won it with a game to spare.
He's going back, isn't he? I have to do that on there.
Yeah, he signed another deal. He's at home at the moment for Christmas because their season starts again in the new year. So, but even talking about, weirdly, name drop, Phil Hanford that he mentioned was...
I remember you telling me about
was my window cleaner at the pub when I used to work in the pub trade. He used to come in, and I remember a few years ago, I was in setting up one morning for shift, and Phil turned up and he went, I've got someone you'd like to meet. And I was like, what? And I looked out and AD Pennock come walking through the door. So, number one, it shows you professional football ain't as glamorous as the Premier League and the Champions League and international football, because if you're out of work, you have to go and get yourself a job. He said, what would he say? He's cleaned up human waste.
Yeah,
had to go in and clean like drug dens and stuff like that. And it's a fair play to him, and I wish him all the best, and he deserves all the luck in the world, because
as a Gills manager, I didn't like him. You weren't a big fan, but as a person, he seems all right, and the way the fans were.
I think we said plenty of times it was never a case of him not working hard enough, was it? But how unprofessional were we as a club at the time? Bonds and Gala was one. Turning up and being given the late Justin Edinburgh's tracksuit to wear because we couldn't afford to get him one that was his own size. It's not good, is it? And maybe he did a slightly better job in keeping us up than we gave him credit for, but it's in the past now.
I won't give him any credit for that.
But
that's just me.
Oh yeah, but I mean, in terms of, he obviously had a lot more going on behind the scenes than we were aware of at the time. That's all I meant. Obviously, we still stayed up because luckily Port Vale couldn't score at Fleetwood on the final day of the season. But I just meant in terms of stuff that he had to deal with, maybe there was a lot more than you should have to deal with as a football manager. But anyway, Saturday, me, this one, and Stocky are travelling to the Kings Meadow Stadium to take on AFC Wimbledon. So let's have a look ahead to that game. 4-2 up there last season, I think, and they was in a good run of form at the time.
Yep.
Tom Eves get a couple in that
I
game.
think Leo Silva got one as well, didn't
And I want to say Callum Riley.
he? I want to say Graham Burke. No, I don't think he did.
Yes, I think you're right.
But
Didn't he
he's
want
had a
about
good
30 yards
deflection,
and that keeper chucked it in? Yes, you might be right. Yeah, literally a minute after they'd taken the lead, I think. So yeah, 4-2, good win. They was in good form. If you've listened to this channel or our podcast any time in the last 6 months to a year, you'll understand that we're hoping that this trip is a lot better than the last time we ventured to Wimbledon away, because it was absolutely shocking. And I'm not going to go into details because I'm not talking about it.
Chance to see a few old familiar faces.
Yeah, Gilles versus Gilles B. Joe Pigott, Scott Wagstaff, Luke O'Neill, Callum Riley all likely to... Oh no, maybe Joe Pigott's not likely to start because of the form of Marcus Force.
Yeah, he's someone I've never heard of until this season.
7 in 10 in League One since joining on loan from Brentford, and he did actually score for Brentford in the EFL Trophy prior to that. So he's got, I think, 11 or 12 goals in all competitions. So he's going to be one to watch.
Someone Guinness, is it?
Oh, was this the kid that turned? He was showing on Soccer Base as being on Gilles' books, and it's not. It's Wilf McGuinness or something.
No, it's something Guinness.
He's got a double barrel name. Yeah, come from like very lowly non-league. Yeah. But yeah, he's the one that in the summer was on Gilles' books on Soccer Base. I don't know who that is. But yeah, in terms of form, last 6 in the league altogether, the Dons have gone win, lost, drawn, lost. So 10 points from 18, but no win in their last 3. Gilles have drawn, lost, won, lost, won. So 8 points from 18, but unbeaten. No, sorry, only 1 defeat in the last 4 on the road, which was... No, that's in all competitions, sorry. So that must have been Rotherham at home. And then home form for Wimbledon. Drawn, lost, 1-1 drawn. So 9 points from 18. Only 1 defeat. And Gilles on the road, last 6. Drawn, lost, drawn, 1. So 7 points from 18, but only 1 defeat. Which was
doesn't it?
Oxford.
Yeah, Oxford was a miserable game.
We were there for that. If you want any bad omens. But yeah, unbeaten in the last 3 away, aren't we? Which is Accrington, Portsmouth and Shrewsbury, I think. 3 really good results. They're similar to Lincoln. They've only scored 4 goals in their last 6 games in all competitions. No more than 1 in any of them, I don't think. It's a winnable game, isn't it? Of course, we're in good form, which is nice to say.
I think it's one of them rare games where you probably say we're slight favourites.
I'm pretty sure in 2.5 years of doing Matchday Lives on the channel, we've never done 3 wins on the bounce in any competition, have we? So, and then I put out that tweet this week about the last time it happened was November, December 2016. And then some fella, I think it was Elliot Grunwell on Facebook, started challenging me to all sorts of statistics. So it was last 3 home wins. Before that was the start of the 2015-16 season under Edinburgh, which also was the last time we kept 3 clean sheets in the bounce in consecutive home games. But then he wanted to know last time we kept consecutive clean sheets in 3 games on the bounce. So I did that, and then he went, they're not all wins. So then I had to find 3 consecutive wins with clean sheets. Was the league?
You're off work, isn't it?
Gave me something to do, yeah. It was the League 2 Championship winning season, the last time that we won 3 games on the bounce without conceding a goal. So, good omens. I'm not saying we're going to win the league. Right, team news. No Matty Willock, I'd imagine. Oh, but he was out on the pitch prior to the game against Sunderland, which was good. So I'd imagine it's probably going to come a week too soon. Only trouble with him now, like I said to Stocky, is we're out of EFL Trophy games to phase him back in. So I wonder if he might be in the squad for the Cup game next Sunday, at home to Doncaster.
I did wonder with him, I might be thinking way off it, but if maybe you could go out on loan for a month just to get fit.
Potentially, yeah. And he was
I'd like to see him play for us because he's decent in pre-season.
But he needs games, and all he can play at the moment is under 23 friendlies.
Go out on loan just for a month, just to get fit and come back.
Unless we can get him a couple of under 20, like behind closed doors games, like we've done this season. Because chances are we're going to need him over the festive period. I think it was the NTT20 pod tweeted today and said that something mad. It was like in the next 40 days, EFL clubs will play 22% of their season.
That's a big percentage.
That's mad, isn't it? But we'll see. This one we'll have to keep an eye on. But I don't think he'll be in the squad on Saturday. I wouldn't change the back 4 and the keeper.
No. I wouldn't change any of it, to be honest.
The only thing is whether it's because it was extra time as well. So if everyone's fully fit and has recovered, then I'd probably put Mika Mandron back in for Alex Jakubiak and leave it. If I had to take one or two out, maybe Alfie Jones, because I said I took him out for Lincoln. I thought he'd just been off the pace, and maybe the other one would be Ollie Lee. But then again, he improved as the game went on Saturday, and I said if them two dropped out, you could maybe bring in Mark Marshall and Regan Charles Cook. But ideally, you want to be as close to that 11 that played Saturday and Tuesday.
Personally.
Lee was funny Tuesday. We kept saying first off, just wasn't in the game, was poor. For about an hour onwards, got more balls into dangerous areas, was getting good delivery in the box and ended up setting up the goal. So, excuse me, if we do go with the 11 that we want, then my bench would be Walsh, O'Connor, Marshall, Cisse. No, I don't think I've got Cisse on. No, Walsh, O'Connor, Marshall, Pringle, Charles Cook and Jolly and Jakubiak. I think something like that. I've written it down about 3 times and now I'm all confused. Anyway, score prediction.
I think we'll keep up the trend and I'll say 1-0 Brandon Hanlon.
I haven't looked. 1-0 Brandon Hanlon, if you can read my horrible writing, because it looks like I've got my daughter to write it. Yeah, I think they're not scoring loads. I don't think they're in the best run of form. Their home form's all right, don't get me wrong. They're unbeaten in 3 at home, but in their last 3 in the league, they've not won any. So, and I think, bottom line is, if we do everything that we've been doing for the last 3 games, we've got better players than them.
Yeah.
So, 2-1-0s. We'll get Stocky's faults on
Stocky
Saturday.
probably go 3-0 Wimbledon.
Probably. No, he was...
He likes to chuck one in when we go away.
What did he say? Oh no, he was relatively normal on Tuesday. He said score draw after normal time and we'd win in extra time. So, right, that is enough from us this evening. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. It's good to have Boz back and get a second voice on, because I know you probably all just get bored of listening to me on a weekly.
And the podcast is now back as of tomorrow morning.
What he just said. I've written it down and everything. It's just taking words.
We recorded it last night and I've now worked out how, because we're quite technical really, aren't we? Now worked out how to put it out on regularly on a Friday. So
you can set it so it just goes out on its own without you having to do it. Look at us, all 21st century. Right, we will be at Wimbledon on Saturday for another Match Day Live. Come and say hello if you wish. But until next time, up the Gills.